Alright, time to feed these hungry viewers, feed these Steam Deck fans real quick. Oh yeah, I had the weekend PC deal done too, and I need to put that out. Oh, by the way, hello viewers, mornings or good afternoon or good evening, another beautiful day. Yep, hope your 5 senses work, health and strength is good, or excellent. Yeah. Alright, now let's see. NVIDIA driver with Linux kernel 6.10 causing kernel oops. It says NVIDIA is currently investigating a bug where their drivers are crashing on modern kernels 6.10 plus. Then it says this appears to happen across driver 550, 555, and even the latest 560. From the troubleshooting data that can be found on NVIDIA forums and the crashes I am facing myself, this seems to be a regression that started with Linux kernel 6.10, and it's affected users when suspension mechanism is triggered or some application is processing 3D. It affects both the close and open NVIDIA driver. This happened on, and he says symptoms. Video gets choppy and hiccups. Happens approximately every 45 seconds. The game keeps playing while the video is frozen. Extra care if you are excuse me, if you are playing something on hardcore. Excuse me. I got killed twice playing Core Keepers and getting a freeze during the battle. After more than 30 minutes playing, the load average machine can spike to 3 digits without a sign of bottlenecks. Then it says show no clear signs of symptom performance. Then it says it shows top iOS stats, VMS stats are free. It says system performance degradation. DMESG gets flooded with similar hacks. Possible solution. Using Linux. It says with NVIDIA's 550 model, NVIDIA is investigating the issue. More information can be found on the following threads. Okay. Alright. Now, what else we got? So NVIDIA will come up with an update for that. Got to keep you Steam Deck fans up to date. You know the rules. Alright, let's see here. What do we got? Says Wine 9.16 release with more Wayland work and initial driver store implementation. Wine 9.16 development release is now available for this compatibility layer to run Windows apps and games on Linux. Here's that's all change. Reminder, Wine is a huge part of what makes Valve Proton able to do its thing, so you can play a lot of those games on Linux, desktop, and Steam Deck. The main highlight of this release includes initial driver store implementation, P-buffer support in the Wayland driver, more prototype objects in MS-HTML, various bug fixes. Then it says for those curious about the driver store, looking it up on Microsoft website, they explain it as starting with Windows Vista. The driver store is a trusted collection of inbox and third-party drivers package. The operating system maintains this collection in a secure location on the local hard disk. Only the driver package in the driver store can be installed on a driver. When a driver package is copied to the driver store, all of its files are copied. This includes the INF file and all the files that are referenced by the INF file. All files that are in the driver package are considered critical to the device installation. The INF file must reference all of the required files for device installation so that they are present in the driver store. If the INF file references a file that is not included in the driver package, the driver package is not copied to the store. The process of copying driver package to the driver store is called staging. A driver package must be staged to the driver store before the package can be used to install any device. As a result, driver staging and driver installation are separate operations. A driver package is staged to the driver store by being verified and validated. Alright. So that's Wine 9.16. Alright, keep pushing here. So what else we got on the Steam Deck front? Here's another one. And it says Steam Deck gets a global resolution override in beta, in latest beta, plus more desktop Steam fixes updates. Says here, Valve released a couple more Steam beta client releases recently for both Steam Deck and desktop. So here all you need to know. On Steam Deck, you may be pleased to see that Valve has now added a global game resolution override feature to display the setting page. Available in Setting, Display Advanced. Here you can set the maximum resolution allowed to be used by game. This feature technically isn't new, since it was available per game already, but having it global is great for those who play a lot of dock and want everything to be available at a higher resolution. Then it says the full change for the Steam Deck beta, August 2022. General, add a drop-down setting, Display Advanced, to select maximum resolution allowed to be used by games. This is the global version of game resolution drop-down already available under game setting, General. It said add signs out to the power menu on dock. Steam input, fix an issue where automatic cursor visibility action set change did not work on the Steam Link app mobile touch controller. Fix an issue where modifying a config could result in a crash when returning to the game. Then it says game recording, add a list to the media manager, provide a view of all the play sessions and media from each sessions. Add settings to enable turning recording on off per game. Add settings to control duration and bit rate of background recording per game. Improve error reporting in the save/share sheet. Fix an issue where you couldn't unpause in the last second of a clip or recording. And then it says for August 23rd, desktop, the controller configurator and desktop overlay will now receive escape key presses instead of the key press automatically dismissing the whole overlay. Game recording, fix a regression in the game recording per game setting, which would use compile in default minutes to keep or use the compile in default bitrate instead of user preference. Fix list view not updating when a game exit. And then it says okay, while over on Steam Desktop a lot of changes are the same, but there are a couple of differences. Here's the August 22nd changes. General, fix a crash when adding new Steam library folder on a network drive. Steam input, fix an issue where automatic cursor visibility action set changes did not work on the Steam Link app mobile touch controller. Fix an issue where modifying a config on deck would result in a crash when returning to the game. Then it says for game recording, add new list view to media manager to provide a view of all the display session and media from each session. Add settings to enable turning recording on off per game. Add settings to control the duration and bitrate of background recording per game. Copy to clipboard on screenshot will now copy the image and the file to enable pasting into more places. Improve error reporting in the save/share sheet. Fix an issue where you couldn't unpause in the last second of a clip or recording. And then for August 23rd for desktop, Steam input, the controller configurator and desktop overlay will now receive escape key presses instead of the key press automatically dismissing the whole overlay. Game recording, fix a regression in game recording per game setting, which would use compile in default minutes to keep or use compile in default bitrate instead of user preference. Then it says Linux, fix store page not rendering on some NVIDIA systems. And that's it for, and more new, we got some more news here. Oh yeah, you guys are good on the updates. Now, Deadlock, I think I speak on this morning. Let's see here, Deadlock. Whew. All right, let me see what you're talking about here. Deadlock from Valve no longer a secret. Store page is up and we can finally take a look. Deadlock, perhaps the worst kept secret from Valve, has now been softly revealed as the latest game from the maker of Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. It says even though it was officially announced, it managed to pull in over 40,000 concurrent players during their secret but not very invite-only play testing. We know this thanks to the public data from SteamDB, which tracks everything on Steam. Deadlock itself has been on there for quite some time before being announced. Technically, Valve hasn't really announced it yet. They made a store page, which is incredibly light on detail, a Twitch category, and they have posted in their official Discord to note people can now talk publicly about it. And then Yoshi said this: everyone, we are lifting the rules for the public conversation about Deadlock to allow for things like streaming, community website, and discussions. Nothing else has changed with our state of development. We are remaining invite only to continue to be in the early development stage with lots of temporary art and experimental gameplay. Now then it says, since it's still invite only, you will have to find someone who has access. Says previously, the game would give you a warning when you first load in, asking you clearly not to share details publicly with some, hi The Verge. Then it says decide to ignore. This has now been replaced with a simple reminder that it is in early development and feedback is welcome. So what is it? Well, that's a little complicated to answer, but I did have access pretty early thanks to an invite. So my best attempt at simply explanation, it takes the lanes, towers, and AI creeps gameplay of Dota 2 and turned it into a third-person hero shooter with rails in the air. You can jump on to travel across the map quickly. It definitely peculiar, and much like Dota 2, it's easy enough to get into, but really takes a good while to learn properly. And then he says, while it is 6-on-6 teams, each team fight across defined lanes in the map that have guardians at specific point you'll need to destroy. You push through each lane with the help of your teammate and your AI creeps. Gradually, you'll push the enemy team back by taking down different types of guardians to eventually make it into the enemy base. Inside the enemy base, you'll take down their Patreon, which is like a multi-stage battle, boss battle, while also trying not to die from the enemy team, madly firing off every single ability they have at you. And then he says, where you're not forced into any particular lanes though, you can run or rail across the map and go wherever you like. It's a team game after all, but leaving a lane empty is of course not a good idea. The rail system definitely adds a nice spin to it, letting you quickly zip across the map from your base. You get fast, you can get a fast speed boost from it too, but once used, it goes into a cooldown. Additionally, the rail for you only works in your territory, so once you push past enemy guardians, your team active rails length will expand. It has a pretty fun character movement system too, where you can dash, double jump, mantle over things, and slide through. So it's reasonably fast paced, especially during combat between players when you're all jumping around like when you're all jumping around trying to avoid the ability going off. See what Quake started? Everybody jumping all over the place. It says here there's quite a number of characters already, all with their own set of abilities, much like Dota 2 or any of the various heroes shooters out there. So learning it can be quite overwhelming initially, as you not only need to learn your abilities, but how to deal with whatever characters the opposing team picks. And it says, thankfully a good few of the characters are super simple to play as. And then he says, it's not just the characters though, you also need to keep upgrading as you go through a match and learn what works best for each characters. And here's where it, once again, like Dota 2, you have to earn a currency soul and then run along to shop to buy up characters upgrade. Thankfully, there's a suggested build system. You can follow anyone. You can follow. No, you say you can follow. You can wait a minute. Build system you can follow, and anyone can make one and publish it for you to follow. And it says, Valve seems to be learning a clear lesson from the failures of artifacts here, building it up gradually with a growing community and tweaking it constantly based on player feedback. The secrecy around it, along with the invite system, has attracted a lot of attention, and even though it's been leaked constantly, this plays quite well for free advertising for Valve. It will be interesting to see what happens with it when Valve opens it up fully. Will it have the staying power of other popular Valve games? Will it end up eating away at numbers of Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, Team Fortress 2, and others? Who knows? It's a weird one, but it can be a lot of fun. Currently, there's no native Linux version, but I can confirm it works really nice on desktop with Proton. I have yet to try it on Steam Deck, but will soon. Okay, all right, Valve. I'm gonna take a try at this when the time comes. All right, what else we got? Last but not least, piece of news here. All right, got you Steam Deck fans covered. Got you covered. Last piece of news here. It says here, Valve made it easier to see who play on Steam Deck. Just recently I report on Valve adding a new feature to Steam user review. Sure enough, who played mostly on Steam Deck, and now they've made this even easier. Being able to see who mostly play on Steam Deck is great, as both additional adverts for Steam Deck and to help potential buyers to see if a particular game is worth picking up. My suggestion in this previous article was that Valve just needs to add a filter to show only Steam Deck reviews, and you will never guess what, but they did exactly that. Now you scroll down to user reviews on Steam and look inside the playtime hover menu. There's a specific option to show those who play mostly on Steam Deck. This is for Elden Rings, and it says that way if you're playing primarily on Steam Deck, you can choose to see only those types of reviews if you want to. As a reminder, the previous update that adds the Steam Deck icon to the review allows you to hover over the icons to see how many hours detected were played on Steam Deck. Alright, and that's all the news. So you Steam Deck fans, you're covered. News, deals, games, update, the usual. And I got the weekend PC deals done, so I will be uploading that video plus this one in a couple of minutes. So yeah, I got you guys covered, man. So thing about this, got to stay on top of it. So yeah, you got some Steam Deck users out there. They want to know what's going on with their machine, so got to keep them in the loop. But other than that, man, you guys are good though for the weekends. Yeah, Nvidia's working on a driver update. Wine is always getting new update. Valve just released a new update again. See, I told you, updates come in when? Any given hour, any given day. And I always tell you to what? Where's a Steam Deck? Put a 2 terabyte SSD inside your Steam Deck. The 64 gig model, 256, 512. Put a 2 terabyte SSD in this. Okay? And the same goes for the 512 OLED and the 1 terabyte OLED. Why do I say that? Because updates are coming in on any given hour, any given day. And they just like, take a chunk here, take a chunk there. Then there's the updates for the Steam OSs. Then there's the update for the Protons. Your Chikai 4 deck, your Creo utility, whatever apps you use from that app store, they get updates, man. Whatever launcher you're using, they get updates. Oh yeah. So that's why I tell you to do that. So yeah. But other than that, you Steam Deck fans, you're good. News, deals, games, update, the usual. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Crystal Star Wars, Star Trek 5, or Dark Side. Go. Peace.